flipping through the newspapers, switching through multiple news channels, exploring different websites and online mediums for relevant news? Keeping up to date with important news is not only time-consuming but also requires meticulous upkeep of notes for thorough revision. With a limited period in hand and abundant resources to study from, do not let current affairs come in the way of your prelims success. Join the PT 365 program by Vision IAS and advance in your preparation for current affairs. Starting on 9th January at 5 p.m., this 20-day course offers comprehensive coverage of 1 year of current affairs in 60 hours. Join for improved knowledge with complete coverage of the Hindu, Indian Express, PIB, Economic Times, Yojana, Economic Survey, etc. Doubt-clearing sessions and mentoring for thorough knowledge. Access to Sandhan personalized test with 25,000 plus questions. Access to live and online classes for flexibility in timing. It's time to devote your energy to smart learning and not running. Enroll today and excel in UPSC prelims with a strong command of current affairs.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Before we begin, let's take a look at the headlines first. Ministry of Tribal Affairs hosts National Conference of District Magistrates on PM JANMAN. India welcomes a decision on the competence of the neutral expert to address issues regarding IWT. 5 new industrial clusters from India joins Transitioning Industrial Clusters initiative. India soon to launch first human underwater submersible deep sea manned vehicle, says Union Minister. 7 new members join World Economic Forum's Global Plastic Action Partnership. Navigating Global Financial System Fragmentation report released by the World Economic Forum. In the first news for the day, let's talk about an important update from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, which recently hosted the National Conference of District Magistrates on PM JANMAN, the Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Maha Abhiyan. This conference aimed to accelerate the implementation of this crucial scheme by encouraging the exchange of best practices across districts with a focus on rural development, PVTG hostels and schools, access to drink water, and much more. Now, let's take a closer look at PM JANMAN. Launched on 15th November 2023, also celebrated as Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, this initiative involves 11 critical interventions across 9 line ministries and departments. Its primary objective is to bridge developmental gaps in tribal areas through activities like constructing pakka houses, deploying mobile medical units, setting up health and wellness centers, and establishing Bandhan Vikas Kendra. To make all this possible, a budget of approximately 24,000 crore rupees has been allocated for the 3-year period from 2023-24 to 2025-26. The scheme falls under the Development Action Plan for Scheduled Tribes or DAPST, ensuring targeted development for tribal communities. But why are such initiatives so crucial? To answer this, we must address the challenges faced by particularly vulnerable tribal groups or PVTGs. PVTGs are among the most marginalized and vulnerable sections of society. They face structural discrimination and are often unfairly labeled as primitive or even hostile. Land alienation is another significant issue, as many PVTGs lose their lands and forest resources, forcing them into bonded labor. The improper implementation of the Forest Rights Act of 2006 only adds to their plight, leaving many without land rights. Health is a critical concern as well. High infant and maternal mortality, malnutrition, and anemia are common in these communities. On top of this, the education system often fails to connect with their cultural knowledge, creating significant barriers. So, what steps have been taken to support these communities? First, we have Article 275 Clause 1 of the Constitution, which guarantees annual grants and aid from the Consolidated Fund of India to promote the welfare of scheduled tribes. Next is the Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Unnat Gram Abhiyan or PMJUGA, aimed at improving socio-economic conditions in selected tribal majority villages. And let's not forget the Pradhan Mantri Adi Adarsh Gram Yojana, which seeks to transform villages with significant tribal populations into model villages. But who exactly are the PVTGs? PVTGs, or particularly vulnerable tribal groups, are identified based on specific criteria. These include a pre-agricultural level of technology, low literacy levels, economic backwardness, and a declining or stagnant population. There are currently 75 identified PVTGs spread across 18 states and the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The challenges faced by PVTGs are immense, but initiatives like PM JANMAN and others highlight the government's commitment to creating equitable opportunities for these communities. By bridging developmental gaps and addressing their unique needs, the aim is to ensure that no one is left behind. Moving ahead, India has welcomed the recent decision on the competence of the neutral expert to address issues regarding the Indus Water Treaty, or IWT. This development sheds light on a decades-old framework governing the shared waters of the Indus River system between India and Pakistan. Let's begin by understanding the treaty itself. The Indus Water Treaty, or IWT, was signed in 1960 and brokered by the World Bank. It was established to determine the distribution of the waters of the Indus River and its tributaries between India and Pakistan. Now, what are the key provisions of this treaty? Under the agreement, the waters of 6 rivers was divided. 3 eastern rivers, Beas, Ravi and Satluj, were allocated to India, and 3 western rivers, Indus, Chenab and Jhelum, were allocated to Pakistan. However, the treaty also permits each country certain uses on the rivers allocated to the other. For example, India is allowed to construct hydroelectric power facilities on the western rivers, but this is subject to specific design constraints outlined in the treaty. In terms of dispute resolution, the IWT provides a 3-tiered mechanism. First, Permanent Indus Commission for direct negotiations between the 2 countries. Second, neutral expert appointed by the World Bank to handle technical disagreements. And third, Court of Arbitration, or PCA, for issues that cannot be resolved at the earlier stages. So, what is the current dispute all about? This dispute focuses on the design features of 2 Indian hydroelectric projects, the Kishanganga project with a capacity of 330 MW on a tributary of the Jhelum River, and the Rattle project with a capacity of 850 MW on a tributary of the Chenab River. Since 2016, Pakistan has pushed for adjudication by the Court of Arbitration, while India has advocated for resolution through the neutral expert. But why is this Indus Water Treaty significant? Firstly, it is a political milestone. The IWT has stood the test of time, serving as an example of successful third-party mediation and conflict prevention for over 65 years. Secondly, it's an economic asset. By maximizing water availability, the treaty has spurred development through cooperation and the infusion of technology. Finally, it holds ecological importance. With emerging challenges like climate change and water scarcity, the treaty serves as a critical framework for managing shared water resources. The Indus Water Treaty remains a cornerstone of water diplomacy, balancing political, economic, and ecological interests. As the current dispute unfolds, all eyes will be on how the neutral expert and the 2 nations navigate this issue within the framework of the treaty.
Moving on, 5 new industrial clusters from India have joined the World Economic Forum's Transitioning Industrial Clusters Initiative, or TICI. These include Gopalpur Industrial Park, Kakinada Cluster, Kerala Green Hydrogen Valley, Mundra Cluster, and Mumbai Green Hydrogen Cluster. But what are industrial clusters? Industrial clusters are geographically concentrated hubs of interconnected industries, companies, and institutions which play a vital role in driving economic growth. A report released by WEF showcases the role of industrial clusters in providing economies of scale, shared risk, and demand optimization. Moreover, they offer unique benefits driven by local context, location, and makeup of its members. However, the development of clean energy infrastructure in these clusters faces several challenges. These include the green premium issue, such as the high cost of green ammonia production, which in 2023 was nearly 3 times that of production using fossil fuels. Additionally, the fragmentation of standards, certifications, and policies for clean fuels, evident in the existence of 34 certification schemes globally for hydrogen and its derivatives like ammonia, poses significant barriers. Other challenges include weak demand for clean energy, gaps in governance, and the lack of robust data protocols and controls. Now, let's take a closer look at the recommendations to scale up clean energy infrastructure. The framework for transitioning industrial clusters emphasizes three key steps. Firstly, it focuses on developing a common vision at the cluster level, which involves establishing effective cluster governance, fostering collaboration between clusters and public institutions, and creating a robust cluster-level digital core. Secondly, it seeks to expedite the scaling of cluster-level clean energy initiatives through aggregated and integrated demand, innovative financing mechanisms, and the adoption of new and enhanced business models. Lastly, it aims to strengthen collaboration across clusters and regions by leveraging global networks, participating in international initiatives, and forming value chain partnerships. This holistic approach ensures a coordinated effort towards sustainable industrial transformation. Now, shifting focus to the Transitioning Industrial Clusters Initiative, it was launched at the UNFCCC's COP26 in Glasgow, UK in 2021, and it is the largest coalition of co-located companies and public institutions committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions while fostering economic growth and job creation. Currently, it includes 33 clusters spanning 16 countries across 5 continents, demonstrating a global commitment to sustainable industrial practices. Moving on, India is set to achieve a major milestone in underwater exploration with the launch of its first human underwater submersible announced by the Union Minister. Initially, this submersible will operate at a depth of up to 500 meters, with an ambitious goal to reach depths of 6,000 meters under the Deep Ocean Mission or DOM. This development follows the launch of India's first and unique manned ocean mission, Samudrayan in Chennai, which marked a significant step in deep sea explorations. The Deep Ocean Mission or DOM, a flagship program launched in 2021 for a period of 5 years, is spearheaded by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Deep ocean exploration under this mission also forms a part of the 9 missions identified by the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council or PMSTIAC. The mission is driven by the aim of unlocking the vast resources hidden in the ocean, including critical minerals, rare metals, and undiscovered marine biodiversity. The mission is built on several key pillars. One of its primary objectives is the development of advanced technologies for deep-sea mining and a manned submersible. This submersible, equipped with state-of-the-art sensors and tools for mining polymetallic nodules, will be capable of carrying 3 people to a depth of 6,000 meters in the Indian Ocean. Additionally, the mission focuses on developing ocean climate change advisory services, which involve deploying a comprehensive array of ocean observation systems and models. Another important aspect of the mission is the advancement of technological innovations for the exploration and conservation of deep-sea biodiversity. It also aims to conduct deep ocean surveys to identify potential sites for multi-metal hydrothermal sulfides mineralization along the Indian Ocean's mid-oceanic ridges. Furthermore, the mission includes efforts to harness energy and fresh water from the ocean and the establishment of an advanced marine station for ocean biology, which is expected to create new opportunities in ocean biology and blue biotechnology. The Deep Ocean Mission brings several strategic benefits to India. These include tapping into India's vast coastal resources, enhancing the blue economy, and indigenous technology utilization. The initiative places India among a select group of nations that are actively engaged in advanced ocean exploration. India's strides under the Deep Ocean Mission reflects its commitment to exploring and harnessing the vast potential of the ocean, marking a significant step forward in the realm of marine science and technology. This initiative is poised to place India at the forefront of global efforts in sustainable ocean exploration and innovation. In a significant development, 7 new members joined World Economic Forum's Global Plastic Action Partnership or GPAP. New members include Angola, Bangladesh, Gabon, Guatemala, Kenya, Senegal, and Tanzania. Let's dive deeper into the Global Plastic Action Partnership. Launched during the World Economic Forum's Sustainable Development Impact Summit in 2018, GPAP serves as a plastic pillar of the Platform for Accelerating the Circular Economy and Friends of Ocean Action. The present number of members is 25, including Maharashtra. Its objectives revolve around accelerating the global response to plastic pollution crisis by bringing together governments, businesses, and civil society. Furthermore, it aims to advance a circular plastics economy that minimizes emissions and protects land and ocean ecosystems. To achieve these goals, GPAP assists countries in developing national action roadmaps and investment mobilization for waste management. However, managing global plastic waste presents significant challenges. Scalability is a major issue, as highlighted by the OECD's Global Plastic Outlook Report 2022, which notes that plastic waste has more than doubled globally. By 2024, India emerged as the world's largest plastic emitter. Recycling efforts remained limited, with only 9% of global plastic waste being recycled, while 19% is incinerated and nearly 50% ends up in sanitary landfills. The impact of plastic waste is far-reaching and affects multiple domains. Environmentally, it damages ecosystems on land, in freshwater, and in marine ecosystems, leading to biodiversity loss, ecosystem degradation, and contributing to climate change. Plastic pollution is responsible for an estimated 1.8 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions annually, with methane emissions from landfills being a significant contributor. On health, plastics in the form of microplastics enter the food chain, harming both animal and human health. Economically, sectors such as tourism, fisheries, agriculture, and water safety face a decline in income due to the pervasive effects of plastic waste. India has taken notable initiatives to address these challenges. The Plastic Waste Management Rules of 2016 introduced Extended Producer Responsibility or EPR, which aims to reduce the plastic footprint by promoting recycling. Additionally, the National Circular Economy Roadmap for Reducing Plastic Waste was launched in 2023 in collaboration with Australia, focusing on advancing sustainable practices. By welcoming these new members, GPAP strengthens its global efforts to combat the plastic pollution crisis and transition towards a sustainable, circular plastics economy, offering a hopeful pathway to tackle one of the most pressing environmental challenges of our time.
Now, let's turn our attention to a key global concern highlighted by the World Economic Forum in its latest report, Navigating Global Financial System Fragmentation. The report underscores the need for an integrated financial system and lays out guiding principles for policymakers to foster financial integration. So, what exactly is the fragmentation of global financial systems? To put it simply, it can be understood as the degree of differences that exist across jurisdictions in the prices of economically identical or similar assets, or in the free movement of capital across borders, etc. This fragmentation often results in higher tariffs, economic sanctions, and export controls, which hamper cross-border investments. But what are the recent trends driving this fragmentation? Economic statecraft has become a significant factor, with states using economic tools such as sanctions or quotas to achieve their foreign policy or domestic objectives. Another key trend is rising multipolarity, reflected in the declining dominance of the US dollar in global reserves, which has fallen from 71% in 1999 to just 58% in 2024. Geopolitical events have also played a major role, with the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain disruptions, and industrial policies like Made in China 2025 contributing to the fragmentation. Finally, weakening global governance has accelerated this trend. Since 2019, the WTO appellate body has been unable to issue decisions, spurring the growth of regional trading blocs. This growing fragmentation poses several serious challenges. On a macroeconomic level, global output could drop by as much as 5% of the GDP in the short term. For emerging markets and developing economies, The lack of access to capital and investments might push them to seek financial support outside established international systems. Even financial institutions are affected, as their ability to mediate finances is reduced, while they face heightened credit, currency, and insolvency risks. So, how can we tackle this issue? The report outlines some key recommendations for promoting integration within the global financial system. First, it calls for upholding the rule of law and respecting property and financial ownership rights. Second, standardizing the regulation of cross-border capital, services, goods and data flows. And finally, conducting regular stress tests to identify and highlight the negative externalities of financial fragmentation. In addition, promoting global financial system integration involves several essential factors. Institutional arrangements such as the formation of the World Trade Organization or WTO play a critical role in ensuring uniform global trade practices. Financial deregulation encourages greater freedom in financial markets. Furthermore, technological advancements like leveraging systems such as real-time gross settlement facilitate faster and more secure financial transactions across borders. As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The Supreme Court proposed temporarily appointing retired judges on an ad hoc basis to clear the backlog of criminal cases in high courts. According to Article 224A of the Constitution, the Chief Justice of a High Court may, with the prior consent of the President, request any person who has previously held the office of a judge of a High Court to act as a judge of the High Court. The procedure for such appointments is outlined in the 1998 Memorandum of Procedure. Recently, the Madhya Pradesh High Court asked the petitioner to approach the appellate authority in a case related to enemy property. Enemy property is regulated under the Enemy Property Act 1968. The 1968 Act defines an enemy as a country and its citizens that committed external aggression against India. The Global Investment Trends Monitor report was released recently by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Key highlights include that overall global foreign direct investments rose by 11% to $1.4 trillion in 2024. However, this figure fell by 8% when excluding flows through European conduit economies, which often serve as transfer points before investment flows reach their final destination. The Union Finance Minister asked banks to complete the integration of the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center or I4C to check financial frauds. After the integration, any complaints regarding financial fraud will be routed to the concerned bank for speedy remedial action. The Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Recently, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee asked the Airport Economic Regulatory Authority or AERA to submit details regarding the user development fees charged by airport operators across the country. AERA is a statutory body under the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Act 2008. NASA has discovered a unique black hole, LID 568, revealing insights into supermassive black holes. LID 568 is a low-mass supermassive black hole that existed 1.5 billion years after the Big Bang. Supermassive black holes are the most common types of black holes, with intense gravity that causes stars to orbit around them in a particular way. Recently, INCOIS Hyderabad was selected for the Subhash Chandra Bose Apada Prabandhan Puraskar 2025. This annual award, announced on the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, honors individuals and organizations for their contributions to disaster management in India. Invasive water hyacinth threatens fishers' livelihood on Lake Naivasha. Lake Naivasha, located in Kenya, is a shallow freshwater lake in the southern Rift Valley, surrounded by acacia woodlands. It is fed by the perennial Maleva and Gilgil rivers, which drain the Aberdare Mountains in central Kenya. Recently, the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court directed local bodies to create an action plan for rejuvenating Vaigai River. The origin of the Vaigai River is in the eastern slope of the Western Ghats, specifically in the Varushanad area. The river flows through an arcuate-shaped basin which is surrounded by the Kaveri and Pambar-Kottakarayar basins to the north, the Gundar Basin to the south, the Periyar Basin to the west, and the Bay of Bengal to the east. Kashmir chinars have received digital protection through geotagging with QR codes. Native to Kashmir, the Kashmir chinars originated in Greece and are found throughout the region, growing characteristically in the eastern Himalayas. Char Chinar, an island on Dal Lake in Srinagar, is named after this tree. Key features include being large and deciduous, growing up to 30 meters tall, and taking about 150 years to reach full height. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.